crypto. We can't let anybody else find out who we are. My eyes are up here. I personally would not advise that strategy. Yeah. Bugs Bunny or Tweety Bird, how to make money in crypto.
Oh, you're killing me.
Whoa, I don't have headphones. I'm not used to this. Welcome, BitBoy Crypto, as the camera moves. The hardest working channel in all of crypto. My name is DZ. Come to you Monday through Friday. I usually say 5 p.m., but sometimes 11:33 a.m. as well. I know Ben's not here. Ben will be back. Don't you worry. No other channel works harder to keep you in the know when it comes to crypto. But yeah, I'm hosting today. TJ, I let the people know what has been doing. We're working on some pretty cool things here. What's been up to?
Yeah, Ben's actually up in Helen, Georgia this morning with Nick, Bobby, Aaron, a lot of the video people doing part 2 of the World Economic Forum specials. So some big stuff, shining the light on our old Klaus Schwab.
Yeah, the people who want you to own nothing and be happy about it. I don't want to eat crickets, okay? I don't want to eat a grasshopper. I still like steak, so, I'm not about all that, I like to own things, even if it's just a JPEG of a monkey. But, yeah, welcome to BitBoy Crypto. We're going to get right into it. Let's see. Let's check out our socials real quick. We have Ben's Twitter. Where are we at right now? 816,000 followers. I just tweeted out about a scammer on my Twitter, DZ_BTC. Go follow me. This is the scammer. There is no underscore. He has 7,000 followers, so he kind of seems legit. I have I had 2 people this morning messaging me like, yeah, he's like, hey, let me help you with your trading journey. Don't listen to it. Stay away from that. This is the real one. You'll see. Help me get over above 26,000. And also, big news. We have changed our name of NFT Update. I don't want to give the details. Basically, we created an account around the same time as someone else. They've gotten really big, and they're kind of trying to get their people to report us as impersonating. That was not the case. We just had a fairly generic name. But our new Instagram, NFT Alpha Show, we just passed 700 followers. So go, please, definitely check us out. We put up shorts. We put out some pretty cool things. You might see a picture. Wait a minute. Is that a Frankie Candles I see? Is that a taco I see? So, we put a little behind-the-scene things, too. Here's a little meetup. So check out NFT Alpha. And also, we're in the midst of changing the name. It's just going to take us a while, but NFT Update is the other channel. If we check out BitBoy Crypto, where are we at right now? Let's see here. Your channel, delete video. Wait, what? 1.45 million subscribers. So we're getting up there. Got any predictions on 1.5 million?
I mean, not really. We've been kind of chilling for a while. I don't really know what the metrics are right now. That's another 50,000. I'm sure we'll be there by another month or so, maybe this summer.
Yeah. I'm shooting for the end of March on a good, maybe by St. Patty's Day. Maybe there's a little bit of a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. St. Patty's Day. Be careful out there. I know I'm going to be wearing my bright green Nike sweatsuit that you may have seen get memed, but
that's a good one. I think you got a lot of good sweatsuits. I'm not gonna lie, but that
one's too green. I could really only wear it 2 days. I could wear it on Christmas. I could wear it on St. Patty's Day, but that's about it. But let's look at the markets. It's been a little bit scary. Look at that number right there. We have Bitcoin down about 6.7%.
I think that needs a refresh.
Oh, let's refresh. Let's refresh here. All right, market cap right now about 1.7 trillion. Bitcoin dominance 42%. ETH down about 18.5. So, we were flirting with that 20, earlier in the year. Oh my God. I was wondering. I was like, geez, that must have been like a spike from yesterday, and it was 24 hours later. So it was, one of those weird things with the charts. No, we're up 9%, baby. Yeah. We're up 10% on that Ethereum. Woo, look at this. I'm already in a better mood. BNB up 6%. XRP, hit that like button if you're in the XRP army. You like seeing XRP touching that 10% gain on a day. Go ahead and hit that like button. Let's get those likes up for sure. Cardano, many were calling it a stable coin around $1. And then it said, oh, you think I'm a stable coin? How about I flash down to 77 cents? Now we're back on the way up here, 88 cents. I know we were flirting with 90. Hopefully it stays around that. We have Solana up 6%. Look at Terra Luna. Luna has just been going nuts. Everybody's talking about UST. Everyone's talking about the tokenomics. They just bought some Bitcoin to help peg that algorithmically pegged stable coin. So Luna making some moves. The markets likes what they see. One of the few that's green on the weekly as well. And man, is that way up 35% on the weekly. Avalanche up about 10%. So looking really good today.
Was
Man,
Luna at $86?
Yeah,
Wow.
66.
60. Oh, okay.
All right,
That's what I thought.
let's check. I haven't done the top gainers and losers in a while. AMP, man, I bought some AMP, but I did not get enough. Gala, big shout out to Wendy, New Money Gang / Meta Money. So they've been telling you about Gala for a while. So Gala's seen a good pump as well. Arweave secret token. Let's see what is down today. Not much. Not much. We pretty much instantly go into the green. We just have the stable coins floating around in that point. Everything is in the green. Normally we see something in the red. Are you surprised like we literally have nothing in the red right now?
No, because I think we're looking at mostly 24-hour, and this is coming off the back of that major dip yesterday. So I don't, they're kind of back where they were at the beginning of the week, if that makes sense. But it
Yeah.
was just they got the major dip overnight with the invasion news, and then they corrected actually pretty quick. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue to correct upward, or if we get more news that pulls us down.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird, all this geopolitical news, and the markets just seem like it. All it did is really increase volatility. It didn't really, say this is definitely the direction we're heading in the short term, or this is definitely the direction. It's just saying, we're taking wilder swings. So interesting stuff going out there. All right, well, let's check out the couple charts here. We do have TradingView. This is the daily chart. And look at that. We're seeing a nice little, convert. We're heading on up. And you know what? I know Frank isn't scheduled, but Frank, if you did want to give us 30 seconds,
Yeah, let me see if I can grab him real quick. Hold on one second. Yeah.
All right.
You got to get in touch with
Frank has people now.
Just go ahead and do some charts.
I saw what the people wanted. The people want Frankie candles. I could go up here. I could talk about a VWAP. I could say, bullish divergence. This guy knows a little bit more about, TradingView and Market Cipher specifically than I do. But when it comes to NFTs, Frank, I am the guy.
You take the NFT.
All right. Well, grab that other mic on the side there, DZ, in case you have any questions.
What's going on, guys? Hello to any of the Candle Mafia in the chat. What is going on?
I like that.
Candle Mafia, baby.
Yeah.
We did have something a little not pretty tragic, but we had an unfortunate event on the stream yesterday. Ben came down to drink some sauce with me, as he said he would, and unfortunately, there was a problem with the stream. We weren't actually live. We did the whole thing, and it just turned out that we weren't live. But he did say he would come back on next week. So stay tuned for that if you want to tune into the Frankie Candles live streams right after ATB at 5:45. But okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Right, we had that pump yesterday. So the lower time frames, I will say this, the lower time frames are looking a little bit better, some of them. Right now, I am actually looking at a scalp short, and I can show you guys what I was looking for there real quick. But first, let's say, right, so we had the pump yesterday. Everyone's kind of starting to feel a little bit bullish, but I do want to point out that the weekly, guys, you don't want to forget about how bearish the higher time frames look. Let me just turn on Market Cipher A here really quick. Boom. Okay, so on Market Cipher B, you guys can see that right here we do have the VWAP crossing down over the zero line, printing this red dot, very bearish. And you guys, if you guys do watch the streams, the morning, this show or my live streams at night, you will know that we did keep our eye on this shooting star candle, which is a bearish reversal candle, right? So we were starting to look bullish with this when this weekly candle last week started off green, but we were keeping an eye on this. So we were kind of expecting that this could happen. But printing this red dot on Market Cipher B, very bearish, not looking great. Also, we touched on this, I believe, on Monday or Wednesday with Ben. He was asking me to compare what it looked like to the past bear market. And on Market Cipher B, this money flow wave is looking very, let me turn off log here real quick so we can just see a little better. This is, the 2017, 2018 peak right here. And you can see once we peaked out, the money flow started coming down from green. And then eventually, as we're curving down, we are coming down in price. And then as we crossed over into the red, that is right when we came to the pits of the bear market. And as you can see, let me grab my brush tool really quick. And if you look right here, this is very, very similar. Somebody just turned on the spider lines.
I just noticed that.
Yeah, maybe Taco might be on the same account, but that's okay. We love the spider lines. But this crossover right here into the deep pits of the bear market, guys, it's looking very similar right here as we're curving down. We also have price coming down up here. And then maybe when we cross into the red, that's where we see that dip close to what I'm expecting to be the bottom of the bear market, I would say about 20K. So a lot of people are calling for lower than that. Could happen, but I am, I'm looking at 20K to bottom out. Some people think 29 is the bottom. So, yeah, that's basically how I'm feeling. I think maybe we come up a little bit. Some of the the medium and shorter time frames weren't looking that bad earlier when I was looking at the charts. But don't forget the long term. We still have that blood diamond on the 3-day, which does have the possibility to bring us down quite a bit more. So just don't forget macro. We still are leaning pretty bearish.
All right. Well, I did feel good this morning, and then then I listened to you just now. So
sorry, I swear I'm a bull. I swear.
Yeah.
All right, Frankie Candles, definitely check out his channel. We love it. Yeah, he got Ben to drink a cup of spaghetti sauce yesterday, but didn't hit go live. And Ben, if you know Ben, he doesn't really care for, chunks of vegetables or fruit. So it actually had a tomato chunk.
Oh, no way.
It had a tomato chunk. He's like, dude, that had a tomato chunk in there. Next time, give me thin sauce. And it was all for nothing. God, man, I wish we could have that footage, but it's gone forever. That's why you got to watch us live. You never know what you're going to miss. Definitely check out Frankie's what do we call him? I like Candle Mafia. I like Candle Cartel. I like Frankensteins. So I don't know what we want to call his group, but I like the Frankensteins personally.
I like Candle Mafia. I think that's pretty cool.
Candle Mafia is good too.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the rundown here. We're going to start with obviously we got to start with the big news, kind of driving the markets right now. We do have, some Russian news. So China changing tack as Xi tells Putin to negotiate peace with Ukraine. So Xi Jinping, he told Vlad that, not Robin Hood Vlad, that Beijing supports resolving the Ukraine crisis through negotiation. They spoke Friday morning, and he urged Vlad to abandon the Cold War mentality. China previously called for a peaceful resolution to the crisis, but blamed the U.S. for sending weapons to Ukraine and declined to refer to Russia's actions as an invasion. The phone call was confirmed in a tweet from the assistant minister. They wrote, Xi has just spoken with Vlad on the phone. He said that Russia's willing to have high-level dialogue with Ukraine. China's willing to work with all parties in the international community to advocate basically a cooperative security concept. And we scroll down here. Wang reiterated that China understood Russia's legitimate concerns on security issues, while we made a similar point on Thursday during a phone call with Sergei Lavrov. We need to bring Nina up here for some of these name pronunciations. Biden refused to comment on Thursday when he was asked if the U.S. was asking China to put pressure on Russia due to the conflict. China is a key Russian ally. So, yeah, we do have, this basically East versus West, narrative kind of forming here. So it's going to be interesting to see what that tip of Russia that gets into that western part of the hemisphere. Are they part of us now? What's going to happen to those guys? Who knows? Let's see. We also have some other news. Ukraine Bitcoin donations top $4 million as Russia's conflict intensifies. If you remember on ATB, we had, I forget his name. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. The guy who was actually in Ukraine, and he told us about the average, income for a Ukrainian resident. And he really threw out like a very, very low number. Of course, this is just from a guy I don't know as Niku. Niku's who I'm talking about. I think he said average is like just a few $100 a month. And so when you see a number like 4 million, kind of put yourself in the, mind frame of this is a country where, the per capita income is much lower. So $4 million, is a substantial amount for something like this. So they sent 4 million in Bitcoin donations. The charity Come Back Alive, just this one has received 4 million since the forces launched an attack early Thursday morning. Nonprofit was formed in 2014 during the annexation of Crimea. Since then, has continued to raise funds to support Ukrainian military. Before the invasion, they accepted donations via Patreon. However, a post on the charity's Facebook page stated that Patreon blocked the group's page and froze more than $250,000 of donations. Let me repeat that. Patreon blocked their group page and froze $250,000 of their donations hours after the Russian attack began. Patreon explained because they were using donations to finance and train military personnel, it violated its terms of service agreement. They currently accept donations via the SWIFT payment system. We will be covering the SWIFT payment system and Bitcoin. Bitcoin wallet currently contains 110 Bitcoin worth $4.2 million. Before the invasion began, it only had 4 Bitcoin. So we're seeing, a huge influx of Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin is fantastic. Permissionless. It's all about being permissionless. These legacy financial institutions snap their fingers. It is over for you. There's nothing you can do. We're seeing it left and right. We're seeing it essentially with, Amazon Web Services doing it. If they want to shut you down, they'll shut you down. This Swift banking, they want to shut you down, they'll shut you down. So we're seeing this, basically the world's smartest people are forming their own economy. They're forming their own crypto economy. Watch out for the narrative that being pro-crypto is going to be anti-American. They are going to push this narrative, and it's not anti-American, it's anti-authoritarianism. So just be careful when you start seeing, especially from, I don't want to say, you're going to see it from basically people who are in bed with the banks. These are the people that are going to be really pushing. And I think it's something that Ben said. I heard him say it about a year ago. If you disagree with their narratives, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. If you disagree with their narratives, they'll try to make you sound crazy. And I remember, being on, years ago, I was much more left than I am today. And I remember thinking, well, this Warren lady, she really is looking out for the people, and it's basically she's in bed with the banks. And so the mainstream media has no problem, pushing her as a shining example of, being fair and being good for the citizenry. But then when you really start looking into it, the people who are pushing against, Dodd-Frank regulation rules, or they're pushing against, limiting the limitless money that can go into, these political donations, the people who don't want that, that's when they'll label them crazy. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on. So, just the more I'm in crypto, the more I feel like I learn about politics, even though it's politically agnostic. It's funny how you'll see the same sides come together. Normally they disagree on everything, but when it comes to taking away their power, that's when they come together. And I've said this on the stream. When people on both sides of a party come together, it's not to help you, it's against you. And we see it with like campaign finance reform. We see it with gerrymandering. So if they agree, don't think, oh yeah, this is good for us. Typically it's bad for you. And it's unfortunate that that's the case. But a couple more Russian things here. Talking about the Swift. I listened to about a half-hour podcast this morning over Swift, and Swift essentially, just think of the protocol used to do financial transactions. It's not the actual transactions themselves. Think of, the coding language you use for email. You're not shutting down Gmail, you're shutting down the language that Gmail uses. So that's kind of how you shut down Swift. It's or when you get out of the Swift network, it's not like you can't receive, you just can't use their network. So U.S. expanded sanctions on Russia for its attack on Ukraine, though restrictions on Russia's access to the SWIFT have yet to be activated. Banning Russia from SWIFT, international financial messaging system, could isolate Russia almost completely from large parts of the global economy. While cryptocurrency may be an efficient medium for Russia to bypass these sanctions or possible SWIFT expulsion, it is unlikely for Russia to turn to digital assets, industry experts tell Forecast. I mean, I don't know about that. Following G7 world leader meeting, Boris Johnson said on Thursday that nothing was off the table, including shuttering Russia's access to SWIFT. Caroline Malcolm, head of the International Policy for Chainalysis, told them that there are bad actors in the crypto space who would make efforts to help Russia evade sanctions, as in traditional finance. Crypto ecosystem kind of put in place measures to identify transactions from sanctioned entities abroad, adding that it's unlikely the affected individuals or entities would move around large quantities of crypto now, as they may have already been doing months ago. Before we get too deep into this, TJ, what are your thoughts on the likelihood that they will revoke them from the SWIFT protocol and using, these financial transactions?
Yeah, that's a big question. I mean, you're hearing a lot about sanctions and regulation, basically, to try to control this stuff. It's something we're going to talk a lot about on this channel as you're going to hear a lot about SWIFT. You're going to hear a lot about NATO. You're going to hear a lot about, geopolitical positioning as all this stuff unfolds. So I've seen some interesting tweets. One scenario kind of laying out that's definitely plausible. I don't know how likely it is. It said uh, Russia gets debanked, cut off from SWIFT. Russia goes all in on Bitcoin. Bitcoin moons. Bitcoin outlawed in the West, which is kind of what you were alluding to there, to kind of, like, oh, if you use Bitcoin, you're not a true American or you're a
Yeah.
criminal. That's what the Russians use. That's what the fascist people are using. Like, that narrative could absolutely come out. So it was saying, like, if that happens, are you prepared? It was like the
Yeah.
last line is, are you prepared, Anon? So I think they'll definitely threaten it. I think Russia probably, the likelihood of them backing down is very low. So yeah, I think they could get cut off from the SWIFT system. I mean, if you think back, we've talked a lot about Ukraine using XLM and Stellar,
Mhm.
which is kind of a test net for XRP. So this could be XRP, just so you guys know, is trying to replace the SWIFT
Yeah.
system. It's saying there's a lot of issues with the SWIFT system, and it's used for geopolitical control, just like they use banks at the local level, central banks on the national level. That's the SWIFT system is basically how the central banks move money around. So
Yeah.
if you can't connect to that, you really can't trade with the world. So
Yeah.
I think they will cut it off at some point. I think it will force Russia into alternatives, which luckily exists now. And then what happens after that is probably a whole new
Yeah, they want to go
economy.
XRP, and a lot of people are saying XLM also making a lot of moves. I know Akon said XLM's making a lot of strides in Africa, with that. So,
Right.
but yeah, last part of this article, Russia has developed its homegrown SPFS system for transfer of financial messages and used locally among the banks. Russia could easily expand its system for international payments with countries that are being considered as adversaries like Iran and China. In terms of ruble Bitcoin trading pairs, we're definitely seeing a spike in those. Investors in Ukraine are also trading as the invasion continues. Trading volume in Ukrainian crypto exchange Kuna has more than tripled by Friday. So people are seeing that there are options. It's not just the end all be all. We have to use this. Yeah, people are starting to wake up that the powers that be can just take your finances just like that. We saw it with the Envoy. We're seeing it now. We're seeing it with Patreon. We're seeing it with all these crowdfunding sites. So, yeah, I mean, the power is in the people's hands. You just got to reach out and take it. Just to quote a little finger there. That was a little Game of Thrones quote. All right, one more Ukraine topic here or article. Conflict raises concerns or currency concerns. Citizens resort to this coin at hefty premiums. Of course, I believe they are talking about the Ukrainian pair. So the pair of the Ukrainian currency UAH is their domestic currency here. The volume has just been exploding. Kind of what they were saying there, is tripled by Friday. So you can see a little volume chart here. Flat, 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 flat. Here we zoom in a little bit. Flat, flat, flat. Boom, big spike there. I guess a lot of people probably, got their coins, and now, you're starting to see volume fall a little bit. The exchange recorded an increase in trade volume ever since the invasion was announced on the 24th. Volumes have been peaking on the 25th to the tune of 3.3 million, and the USDT and then the Ukrainian pair is maintaining a high and low range. So we're seeing a lot of volatility with the Ukrainian currency compared to with Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's just very volatile right now anyway. So I don't know the volatility aspects of their currency, but I would assume with an invasion, there's probably a little bit of volatility there. So yeah, I mean, Ukrainians, Russians, a lot of people that have, close ties to this conflict see that, we might have some currency issues in the near future. You want to be ahead of the curve with something like that. Because in America, and I don't want to FUD USA. I love the USA. I love my country. I love living here. I don't have any plans of renouncing my citizenship or anything. But potentially down the line, we're going to have currency issues. Some would say that started, a couple years ago and the cat has left the bag. Some would say it started in '08 and the cat has left the bag, including Satoshi. So the earlier you get in on these, you divest your portfolio. That was TJ's hand, if you were wondering, by the way. We don't have someone, walking in front of us. Who is that? I see the top of someone's head. So just be careful, diversify, get some crypto exposure. You got some relatives that are only in stocks. You got Peter Schiff is your uncle. He's only in gold. Just tell him, like, look, this Bitcoin thing's not going away, and sure, we're Americans today, but your government might count you as an enemy just for disagreeing with whoever is in power. So maybe it's good to hedge your bets. And sure, you may agree with the people in power today. what about 4 years from now? What about 2 years from now? What about 8 years from now? And maybe you disagree with them today. Maybe people you agree with will be, in power 4 years from now. But what about 4 years after that? So just think ahead, and Bitcoin. Bitcoin solves this. It's not just a meme. It is actually, something that is real. All right, let's talk a little Apple. Big old Tim Apple. We like Tim Apple around here. Actually, I hate Apple. This
That's
thing right here. I hate this. I think this is a bad product. Maybe it's because I'm a gamer. I like to feel the mouse move around.
Yeah.
If you prefer a mouse over this, let us know. Hit that like button. I know I can't be the only one. I'm not a big fan, but I know I've said it before. I have carpal tunnel syndrome after I do this live stream. All right. Apple Pay to halt support for Russian banks sanctioned on war in Ukraine. Russians cashed out over 1.3 billion. That's a lot of money from banks on the first day of the invasion of Ukraine. Largest amount since the onset of the old, Mr. 19. Russian banks have been sanctioned over Russia's special military. I like how at least they're putting it in quotations. Special military operation in Ukraine will no longer support payment services like Apple Pay or Google Pay. Russia's second largest bank, VTB, as well as other banks. Not even gonna. This is where we need Nina. Nina, I need you to pronounce these 4 names for me. Are on the list of companies sanctioned by the United States. Bank of Russia confirmed on Friday. Of course, she would just come out with it. So like that's how she would say it. All right, users of debit and credit cards issued by these banks will no longer be able to use Apple Pay and Google Pay, the central bank said in the announcement, adding that contact or contactless payment will still be available in full across Russia. Apart from some Russian cards being blocked from Apple Pay and Google Pay, some sanctioned banks are also facing issues with the Apple Store and Google Store due to their involvement with decisions over Ukraine's People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic. Reported mobile applications by these sanctioned entities with at least 3 apps being removed from the App Store. Google reportedly moved the bank's main app from its store as well. They've been increasingly withdrawing money from the bank accounts across the country. Again, $1.3 billion, huge amounts. I guess that is a line leading outside of a bank right there. Some on-chain data suggests they've been increasingly moving into crypto in the aftermath of Russia's invasion. Definitely the volume supports that narrative. It can be difficult to get recent data on Russians' crypto exposure as the country has no legal exchanges that track trading volume. It's all on the blockchain. Basically, they don't want to do the work. They don't want to hire Chainalysis to do it. But major locally operating exchanges like Binance declined to comment on the matter to Cointelegraph. So, yeah, I mean, we're seeing it right now. We're seeing, they're moving into crypto. Again, just watch that narrative that this is going to be seen as something that's anti-American. Here's a question for you. You have some would say, I gotta be careful with my language here. You have Ukrainians and you have Russians, both, moving into Bitcoin. They're on opposite ends of the conflict. So if both sides are saying Bitcoin's a good thing, how is it anti-American? You can say, well, they're doing it, so it's anti-American. Well, the opposite side is doing it, so how is it anti-American? Does that mean it's pro-American as well as anti-American? So just be careful when you hear that narrative. Think of it as the energy FUD, with NFTs and stuff like that. It's all going to be a bunch of bull crap.
They're going to be tied together most likely.
Yeah.
The energy FUD will go along with they'll make it a political issue when it's clearly not. You said it very well. It comes back. It's to open. It's permissionless.
Yep.
Things that are permissionless make a huge difference. And it was something I shared yesterday. With all these people fleeing and leaving and all this uncertainty with, you've got your own government withdrawing money and, war times, you never know what's going to happen. All of this is a huge advertisement for Bitcoin. And one thing I saw yesterday, it said, imagine being able to flee your country in war times with life-saving money by simply memorizing 12 words.
Yep.
That's it. And that is powerful.
Basement chat, always killing it. In Russia, you don't track Bitcoin. Bitcoin tracks you. I like that. I'll have to tell that one to Nina for sure. Yeah, and with the whole energy thing, TJ brings up a good point. They're going to conflate these two issues. If we really, wanted to. So Germany, I don't know the exact stats here, but I believe they get about half their energy from Russia. Russia's huge exporter of coal and a lot of base metals. A lot of wheat, and Ukraine is also a top 10 wheat exporter. So yeah, they're going to tie all these things like rising grocery store prices, rising gasoline prices, rising cost of energy with coal-fired plants and all the such. But really, it's inflation. Inflation is the root cause. We've already seen, I think it was a CNN headline. They were saying, inflation rises as Ukraine, tensions rise. Really, because, I'm not a economic professor at Harvard by any means, but don't things like that kind of take time to trickle in? Like, think of like Reaganomics, like a trickle down economy. It's not we invade on Wednesday and it hits the economy on Friday. That is
Right.
not how that works. We're talking about these are 10-year things that, take place, multi-year things. So the fact that they're trying to say, oh, yeah, the inflation is because of X, Y, and Z. No, it's because you printed all the freaking money.
Right.
Have you seen the stats on that thing? No, that's what it is. What do you mean we 10x our supply in 2 years? I believe it's more of that than the thing that happened 46 hours ago.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little Rogan here. Big shout out on speaking of podcasts. Go to NFT Update on YouTube. There's the DZ and Justin podcast. We actually gave a little bit of a take on the war. I was like, God, we shouldn't talk about this. But if you want to know Justin's hot takes on Ukraine, check out the podcast. It got a little dicey, All right. Joe Rogan podcast. He said he was going to go over there. No, Joe Rogan podcast guest exposes CBDC dystopia. Talking about this guy right here, Majid Nawaz. I listened to some of the episode. I haven't had time to listen to the whole thing. Pointed out on Rogan's Saturday episode of the popular podcast, part of the reason legislators are so drawn to the notion of a CBDC is that this form of money is programmable and controllable. This goes into what we were saying about Patreon. This sounds terrifying. It's hard to do a Rogan impression. I guess you have to do like monkeys, man. I don't know. That was my impression. I guess that's more him like 10 years ago. The warning might at first sound like stuff of conspiracy theory, but legislators have admitted to exploring the possibility. They want this, or seeing China's example is like something they want to emulate. CBDCs present the danger of state powers micromanaging people's lives right down to the food they eat, places they travel to, and activities in which they are allowed to engage. It's no wonder that China's been the first nation to pioneer CBDC, unveiling the technology at this year's Winter Olympics specifically. I think they actually unveiled it in that transit system in Beijing first before the Olympic Village. While there may be some skepticism about Western governments leveraging those powers as a tool for control, recent lessons from the convoy suggest that there is less room for complacency. As he went on to tell Rogan, the UK financial leader Rishi Sunak, known as the Chancellor of the Exchequer. How do you say that?
That's a pretty good guess.
Exchequer. Yeah. I don't like how they spell humor differently and all that stuff. Has openly advocated for CBDC technology both in the UK and overseas. In the video he shared with Rogan, he even extolled the virtues of CBDCs at the recent G7 conference. This is France, Germany, Italy, Japan, US, UK, and Canada. Every single one of them is researching or trialing CBDC technology. The dystopia may yet await. The greatest line of defense is decentralized crypto and Bitcoin. A little bit of a opinion piece, but I kind of agree with these opinions for sure. I mean, we've said it over and over, since China unveiled these plans with their subway system and with the Olympic Village, they do want to control and they do want the ability to just say, oh, yeah, that's not your money anymore. And that's why you got to be careful, be careful with keeping your, coins on exchanges that are centralized, just especially if you're a public figure or, you have some contrary feelings to the people maybe above you. But
I was going to comment there. Speaking of those 7 countries and the CBDC efforts, they've been putting a lot of time, effort, and energy into this thing. And there's no better time to push out stuff like this than war times.
Yeah.
When they say they need emergency measures and we need to move fast. They'll use the pandemic as something to point back to, is like, look how long it took us to get all this money out. Now we can do it instantly, blah, blah, blah. And then, like he alluded to in that article, before you know it, you're dependent on the government for all sorts of different things. So
yeah, it's you definitely see that a lot. And there's really no solution at the end of the day besides just
he said it
yourself
right there
at
the
in a
end.
position to not be taken advantage of.
Decentralized options are really the only defense. Bitcoin and other digital assets that have decentralization at the heart of it as a priority.
Yeah, and unless you learn, it's all great to get your uncle to download Coinbase, but we got to start taking these extra steps. We got to start educating ourselves, because
100.
You never know, like, when the next switch gets hit, then it's Next thing you know, you're an enemy of the state, and I'm not talking about Will Smith. All right, let's talk a little Charles, this time without the Falcon. Ethereum in its current instantiation is a subset of Cardano. That's a college word for saying of being an instance. In its current instance is yeah, it's just like, you sound smarter when you say it this way. Recently, Charles, I like to call him Chucky. Recently, Chucky explained what he admires about Ethereum and its ecosystem. Chucky also is one of the original co-founders of Ethereum Foundation, as well as its first CEO, made these comments during one of his AMAs that he streams live. If you probably seen some pictures, he was up in Denver for ETH Denver. There's even a picture of him in the same room as Vitalik. They're like eating. They're not eating together. He's in a table behind him. It's like all this net worth, and they're sitting there like eating like little sandwiches, like
the
bag of
best
chips.
The best comment I saw on that, it said somebody's like, "Yeah, millionaires always dress in designer clothes. Billionaires dress like regular people."
Yeah,
because Charles always looks like a rancher or something like that.
Yeah, he looks like you see him at a Wyoming feed store.
Yep.
Or he probably is like that's probably the
probably
first thing he does when he goes to Wyoming. I gotta go to the feed store. We gotta get some field mice for my Falcon. Sir, you can't bring that Falcon on the plane. I own the plane. All right. Last question in this AMA session was: are there any ways in which Ethereum is better than Cardano? Again, for those Cardano maniacs out there, and I like Cardano now. The last question is: any way in which Ethereum is better than Cardano? He replied with a two-parter, talking about what he did like with Ethereum and Vitalik's leadership. In its current instance, it's a subset of Cardano. In its current instantiation, it's a subset of Cardano. When sidechains come, many people would say, really, I think it's the other way around. When sidechains come, everything Ethereum is, Cardano is. They're combined together. He kind of like contradicts his own sentence with the second sentence. When sidechain come, everything Cardano is, or Ethereum is, Cardano is. It's like the real numbers to integers. There's a lot more of them, and they do a lot more things, but the integers are contained within the real numbers. I love how he like talks himself into saying like, yeah, they copy us. Well, we wait for them to do it first, and we do it, but they're like kind of like us, you know what I mean? Right. I don't know. I love Cardano. Super big into Cardano NFT space. I have more Cardano now than I probably have ever had. Big thanks to some metaverses out there, but yeah, I mean, it's funny. I love Cardano, but I think it's less of a maxi coin than it was a year ago. What's your thought on that opinion?
Less than what do you mean? When
Less
you say
of a like a year ago, Cardano maxis were frothy. They're so maxi.
Yeah,
now I think they've been humbled by the $3 to $1 decline, and now they're like, okay, we got a little high and mighty when we went from 2 cents to $3, but now the bear market has humbled us all.
Yeah,
and now they're saying like, yeah, let's build together.
I would agree. There's a lot more layer one options out there right now, a lot more competitors, and I think seeing the newer, hotter, cooler things perform well in price probably did, take a little the fervor out of the ADA crowd. I still think it's strong and very good community there.
Yeah.
But I also saw another interesting tweet that kind of got me thinking. I tend to agree with this, that was talking about all these layer ones. It was talking about Phantom. I think specifically at the time it got very congested and, basically froze more or less, like we've seen with Solana, like we saw with the ADA first launch. Like a lot of these layer ones, when they actually start rolling out the features to function the way they've been promising for years and years and years, they get congested quickly, they slow down, the fees go up, all the same problems that Ethereum has. So this person in the tweet was saying they think a lot of these other layer ones will fade away and kind of crash into nothing. I don't know if he was talking specifically about Phantom, but that's what I would say is the strongest thing about Cardano for now is it's made it through a couple different cycles. They're still developing. They're still releasing. They still have name recognition, which is big in crypto, especially with it being so new. We know it can make it through a bear market because we've seen it happen. I'll be fascinated to see what happens to Avalanche and Terra and Cosmos and Dot and Solana and all these new layer ones as we go through a bear market. It'll be telling.
Yeah, and I do think there's room for several layer ones. I think we'll have different industries using different ones. Like banks might use one
for sure.
If there's supply chain logistics and you need say you're using VeChain but you need some sort of like stable that's, working with that. You might use a different layer 1 for that. You're probably not going to use Ethereum. You're probably not going to use, Cardano. Maybe you'll use Solana. But yeah, there's definitely some small ones out there. I think there's still, upside on some of the names that TJ gave. I mean, Luna's up like an insane amount right now. Maybe be careful with the ones that are having insane pumps, because there's some other ones that are kind of lurking, but behind the scenes that I like. I have a couple I like. I don't want to try to go up here and push
Sure.
the smaller cap ones, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely some good ones
Well,
out there.
on that note, like we were saying about smaller cap, we don't have to talk about specifics, but what I would say is if you're in this every single day, the biggest advantage in crypto is getting on new things early. So if you're always trying new things, you might fail, you might miss, they might go to 0, or you might 10 to 100x. So trying new things is definitely a good strategy.
Yeah. And on that, I will say this: you're gonna have to do the digging. I tweeted out one,
There you go.
yesterday. So check out the Twitter, and you can see what DZ likes.
What's the
but
at?
You gotta do that little bit of work. I'm not just, as Elio would say, I'm not spoon feeding you.
There you go.
Here, I'm not gonna spoon feed you.
What's
All
your
right,
Twitter at?
DZ _ BTC if you want to look at it. So I'm not even gonna scroll to it. You're gonna have to go to it and look. But yeah, I retweeted something. I said, get it ready. Because they got some big things going on, some staking, and DZ loves his steaks, medium rare. All right, just like my NFTs, I like them rare. All right, let's go to the second part of his reply here. In the second part of his reply, Hoskinson talked about what he disliked about the Ethereum movement, namely its arrogance and lack of interest in learning about successes and failures of other major crypto projects such as Cardano, Solana, and IOTA. Also known as IOG. If you're smart, you learn from other people's mistakes. You learn from where other people have not done things well or done things well. Competitive analysis intelligence really helps you out. I do kind of want to say like the arrogance thing. I'm not saying Cardano people are arrogant, but they kind of used to be. I think that's fair to say. I don't think I'm throwing out some wild take that everyone disagrees with. I'm talking about you, BJ. No, I think we've all seen or talked to that Cardano maxi maybe a year ago was just telling you how bad Ethereum was. If you have that person in your life that tells you how bad your coin is, but how good Cardano was, hit that like button. But it's a lot better today than it was a year ago. I find that funny that a little pot calling the kettle black there. I think that's fair to say.
One thing I've found consistently through crypto, the more experience you have in the space, generally the more humble you get over time, because you realize there's a lot to learn.
Yep, yeah. Unless you're just calling tops and bottoms every single time, eventually you're gonna like ride a coin down, and then you're gonna feel like, oh my god. And someone was asking, it's mango bubbly, not the pineapple. I know this is the pineapple brand channel. I ain't down with the pineapple. Alex, that's for you. All right. No pineapple. Don't worry. All right. Cardano also to have its own ZK rollups design was unveiled. ZK's zero knowledge, think it can roll up a whole batch of transactions without zero knowledge, without having to go through all the data. So Cardano's DeFi ecosystem, I'm very excited about the DeFi here, is going to have its own scalability solution that moves computations off chain to reduce pressure on Cardano's mainnet. Just with other ZK-based solutions, transactions on Orbis will take place off-chain and then be broadcast to Cardano's mainnet through resource-efficient mechanism. Protocol is set to use ZK snarks, succinct, non-interactive, argument of knowledge. I never like it when people like, all right, now you're just pushing it. And no one hated ZK snacks. All right. Did someone say, ZK snacks? We can't use that. We got to make it snark. Snark isn't better than snack. I would have gone with ZK snacks if that was me.
That sounds like some kind of weird strain or like...
Oh, actually, don't Google that. That probably is some weird thing. Don't go to zksnacks.com or actually do. I want to know. No, don't go. Don't go.
I'll tell you right now what's on there.
I don't want to know. All right. Yeah, if it's something bad, I apologize in advance. Maybe that's why you were right to do that. As per the statement, the team is requesting $1 million in funding to develop and launch Orbis on Cardano. Million, that's really not too much for crypto. It will leverage Halo 2, a video game made by Microsoft many years ago, and a technology developed and stress tested by mainstream privacy-focused blockchain Zcash. That's right, little ZEC. Orbis ecosystem will be highly scalable, even allows users to build layer 3 solutions on its top. Talking about getting humbled. I remember I bought some Zcash, doubled up. I wrote it down. I didn't have enough to like try to flip it on Coinbase, but that thing just went. "Ew." And you know what? We kept hearing all these over the past 2-3 months how important it is to have these privacy coins. And so I almost don't want to sell out of principle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I support privacy coins, and having privacy in crypto isn't necessarily like something for criminals. Sometimes privacy is a human right.
Absolutely.
And an example, love him or hate him, Richard Hart gave is with a company trying to pay people with the blockchain. Sometimes you don't want every employee's payment to be public knowledge.
Mhm.
I might not want my coworkers to know how much I make, and they might not know, or they might not want me to know how much they make. So yeah, when you're paying your company and you're paying everybody in crypto, then you're basically making everyone's paycheck public. So there's very legitimate reasons to want privacy with crypto. It's not just something for people trying to hire assassins on Silk Road or something.
Absolutely.
That's the narrative they'll give you. Oh no, you're trying to support terrorists. Shutting down a pipeline. No, I just don't want people to know what I make. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
You're
and
gonna
on that privacy note, to circle back on that ZK Snacks thing, I actually went.
Yeah.
I would get, and it's a Bitcoin project. A lot of people were familiar with Wasabi Wallet. It's one of the best self-custody Lightning wallets out there. Has a lot of really good privacy features built in. If I had to guess, they probably bought zsnacks.com before, when they thought that was going to be the way it was referred to instead of Snarks. But if you go to zsnacks.com, it is basically, it's owned by the people who run Wasabi Wallet. That's their
Okay.
number
Hey,
one
we got a
project.
raid from Alien Worlds official
Oh, hey.
on Twitch. So big shout out to Alien Worlds, one of the top, if not the number one by volume blockchain game. It is on Wax. It is a sleeping giant, and is actually not my first NFTs. That was, I think, Gods Unchained actually, but it was one of my first NFTs where I got like really involved with a non MetaMask wallet. So I think it's my first non Ethereum / IMX based NFT. So yeah, I still have some Alien World NFTs. I think they're just like sitting. I was staking them on our planet. I don't know, maybe it'll be back or something, but I'm still holding. So big shout out to Alien Worlds. Pretty cool team. They're doing a lot of cool things. All right, let's talk a little Brazil. No, we're not talking Pele. No, we're not talking soccer. No, we're not talking about the Olympics here. We're talking about Brazil with this very misleading headline: set to follow El Salvador in full-scale adoption of Bitcoin. That's a very, very misleading headline. See crypto. Come on.
I was going to say, that sounds good.
It sounds good. Oh my God, Brazil is next. They're doing it. They're doing the thing. Not quite. Calm down. All right, the bill's approval. The bill is in the beginning. It's beginning a process that could end with Brazil having clear regulations to direct everyday transactions using crypto in the country. If approved in the Senate lower house, the next step is get it to the president. Tax breaks for Bitcoin miners and regulations to combat financial crime in the space are proposed. In a bid to encourage green mining of Bitcoin, miners who use renewable will be exempted from import tax under the bill. Also places emphasis on anti-money laundering regulations in order to combat illicit activity. It looks like they're just trying to regulate it, give it a little clarity here, clamp down on illegal activities. I kind of read that as we want to be able to tax you guys. If the bill is passed, increased adoption is likely in the country, even institutionally, as they can now be clear on the requirements to remain compliant. That's kind of America's problem. These companies want to be compliant. We're not giving them a language to do so. Latin American countries seem keenly interested in the crypto space. Most popular of them of the moment is El Salvador, of course, which adopted it as legal tender and launched a Bitcoin-backed bond. Volcano bonds, baby. Bitcoin on volcanoes. Isn't that how it works? Like a volcano blows up and more Bitcoins mined, I think. I think
Yeah.
that's how it works.
Something like
Sounds
that.
about right.
I'm
All
pretty
right.
sure Scrooge McDuck has a volcano that like erupts Bitcoin out. And that's where he made all his money.
You know what? What's up with him diving into a pile of metal coins?
You know?
Like them break his neck.
Yeah.
Scam, I say. I tried that. I had a pile of pennies. I saved up for a long time. I had to sell my 0.4 chain link. I dove into it, hurt my neck.
Scrooge
it was pretty
McDuck
bad.
is just built different.
And I did say, I know some of y'all, only see me in the morning. You don't see me, that's equal baldness. Listen here. I saw that comment. Soccer World. Was it the Brazil comment? You didn't like your little Pele comment? Oh, let me make fun. Get
More
outta
bald
here.
people in soccer than any other sport, right?
Yeah. They're always, when they're not clutching their chest and falling down. That's when you see
Crying.
him lean over. You're like, oh, I see a bald spot. He was clutching his chest and he fell. Now I'm all distracted, man. Now I'm all distracted. I don't even. You got me heated up about my hat. Okay, it's part of my brand. I
You're crushing
couldn't even convince myself for that. All right. Let's talk a little EU here.
All right.
Euro proof of work. Ooh, look at that big
Oh.
scary X there.
Yeah,
Wait, are they
something-
fighting?
Yeah.
European Parliament delays vote on crypto assets bill over proof of work debate.
You know-
Yes, it's that old story again. Proof of work's bad. Bitcoin mining's bad. Blah, blah, blah. Parliament of the EU's delayed a key vote on the long-awaited crypto market regulation in response to outrage from the non-crypto world, is what that should say. A source close to negotiations over the directive told the bloc that the primary point of contention was late-state changes that some interpreted as bans on proof-of-work networks, Bitcoin, primarily out of concerns over their energy usage after a leak generated negative press, probably leaked on purpose, as well as overwhelming Twitter response. The right and center-right members withdrew support for the latest amendments. Someone took to Twitter to explain, as a rapporteur, it is essential for me that the directive is not misinterpreted as a de facto Bitcoin ban. Postponing the vote is the right decision, as several critically important issues in the bill remain unresolved. The future financial competitiveness of Europe depends on them getting this right. Yeah, I mean, you ban proof of work, you're banning Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is you think of proof of work, you think of Bitcoin. We can go over well, what does the gold industry use? What is regular financial? What does the, YouTube use? Just people watching YouTube. What are gaming PCs use? What is Fortnite as a network using, in energy? We can have all those debates. At the end of the day, it's, they're just trying to point at something, but many smarter people than me have talked about this, with the gas networks. They flare gas in Texas, and flaring gas means you're basically wasting oil. It is so costly to turn off that spigot that, where the oil comes out of. If it's not profitable to refine it, they just burn it off. It just goes into the atmosphere. So, using this allows them to remain profitable, which equals lower energy prices for you. Also, it's one of the key drivers for green energy. And I think we saw, this push to green has really made us, not so much us slightly, but, Germany specifically, very reliant on foreign countries' oil and coal for your energy. So, I'm all about nuclear. You research it. Nuclear is safe. It's becoming a lot more safe. We're really close. All In podcast really went into this. David Sachs, I think it was, really broke it down well last week. The technology is getting better. The tech is getting better. The safety is getting a lot higher. The energy output is just a lot better overall than, a lot of these coal-powered, gas-fired, what else? We got fracking. We got all these things that we're doing. Nothing wrong with nuclear energy. I actually used to live near a nuclear power plant. That's probably why I have to wear a hat. In Wilmington, North Carolina. No one even really knew about it. It's we have a lot of scary, images in our mind from like a Chernobyl or a 3 Mile Island, I think it was called. But that's not, you wouldn't look at a 70s computer and be like, man, that's scary because that thing blew up. I don't want to use a computer. Technology has advanced. Like we're talking about things that happened a long time ago. I think 85 was Chernobyl. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 85. And have you seen technology since 1985? Have you seen the newest gaming systems versus the NES? We're using a little bit better stuff now, so it's not like what you think it's going to be. We're not going to have meltdowns everywhere. So, and then we see it's kind of a national security issue. But I think we got a little. I think we got some time for some Q&A, right?
Yeah, we do. There should be some quick hits there too.
Yeah, we do have a couple quick hits. Real quick, U.S. crypto miners are determined to boost their hash power despite Bitcoin's drop. Yeah, this is kind of going into, there's a whole lot of mining equipment that's going to be coming out. A lot of these mining enterprises are starting to upgrade. With these machines coming out, they're going to want to, upgrade their equipment to mine more Bitcoin. As the cost of mining Bitcoin goes higher and higher, essentially the cost of Bitcoin, it's not A equals B, it's not going to exactly work that way. But the more it costs to mine Bitcoin, the more Bitcoin is going to be sold for. If it costs you $10 to get this little gold flake, you don't want to sell it for $5 because it costs you $10 in labor and machine machinery to get that gold. You don't want less than $10 for that gold. Well, next week it costs you $12 to get that same amount of gold. You don't want to sell it for 10. You're like, well, dang it, it cost me 12. I got to get at least 13. I got to get at least 14. So as more and more people upgrade their equipment, this other equipment, you know, probably some of it's going to hit the secondary market, meaning there's more and more people mining Bitcoin, which is ultimately going to help the security of Bitcoin, help the price of Bitcoin. So this is good news. Good news. We like to see it, especially when it's strong Western companies here. Not to try to, I'm checking the Zeno here, but I like Marathon Digital. I don't own any stock. I used to. I got out of it, but if you do have some people that in your family that kind of want some Bitcoin exposure, but they're only in stocks, I always kind of, push them towards Marathon. It's down a lot. It's one of the ones Gareth Soloway kind of mentions. Bitcoin goes down 5%. A Bitcoin mining stock will go down like 8 or 10%. So right now, Bitcoin is down. I think Marathon is down about 80% from their all-time highs, whereas Bitcoin's down closer to like 45%. I think it's around 45%. All right, another quick one. 2 Ethereum rivals on the cusp of major breakdowns. Warren's top crypto trader. These 2 popular altcoins. Talk about Luna is going to have some rough seas ahead. And what was the other one here? Luna, of course, it just has a crazy, crazy run. We could kind of see, running into a little bit of resistance. So if it breaks above that, though, I could see that turn into support. Terra's trading at 52. I think it's up a little bit more from that. Other challenger is AVAX, smart contract enabled blockchain. So it's just another one that has seen a really, really good pump. Here's, the technicals here. If you are into TA, you can kind of, see a little pattern forming. Looks like maybe they're saying that's a head and shoulders, if I had to guess. So yeah, seeing some serious macro lower highs trying to be put in. So careful with those 2 coins. That's just me and TJ and Ben. If something's up 30% and the rest of the market's flat, that coin might be cooling down. Now, sometimes if it's pumping, it pumps for a reason. It continues to pump. Solana, 20 to 40, 40 to 100. Oh, there's no way it keeps pumping to 200, to 250. Sometimes things can keep pumping, even these, higher market cap coins. Just typically, I don't want to say 2 out of 3, 4 out of 5 times, you're beating everybody. When everything else, they'll catch up, you'll slow down. So, just be careful. Just because it's up 16% doesn't mean it'll be up that much tomorrow.
Yeah. I was going to say they call them unicorns for a reason. You don't see them every day. So if you've got one, ride it, but otherwise take profits when you're up, as we always say. So we got a couple quick questions. I actually wasn't able to watch this. I don't know if you watched it.
I haven't watched it yet. I definitely want to.
Yeah. The Raven Boy was asking about the Richard Hart, Peter Schiff debate. I know some people in our research group were talking about it. I didn't get a chance to watch any of it myself. From what I understand, they were saying Peter Schiff did very well. He's a very good debater, and obviously Richard is also. So they were saying it was interesting to see him revert back to defending Bitcoin, because he was basically talking about why Bitcoin and Ethereum are so great, which is interesting because most of the time we hear him, he's kind of trashing them to prop up Hex. So they were saying just on that alone, they would say Peter won because he had to go back to his really what he truly believes.
Yeah, to contradict some of his previous talking points. Yeah.
But I haven't watched it yet. A couple other really quick hitters. Any NFT alpha
today
for the crowd?
on Cardano, there's something called cornucopias. That Chase guy is an advisor that came here. You met with him. So he seems like a straight shooter. I don't know much about the game. I just know Kyle. I think maybe his name
Kyle Chaussee.
Yeah, Chaussee. All I know is I've met one of the guys. Looked him in his eyes, shook his hand. I had good vibes from him. So cornucopias mints in 3 or 4 hours on Cardano. Maybe check it out. And I think this weekend, if you watch this later, because you might be watching this after that, the mandrills on Cardano. And, we talked about on ATB, the tubby cats. Those things, that volume is still not slowing down. So that could be one of those ones that goes to $10,000 and everyone's like, why? So just, I don't know, just keep, if you like it, check it out. But do your own research. Not
did you guys do anything with, talk about, or what do you know about? Is it Invisible People?
Invisible Friends.
Invisible
Yeah,
Friends.
those things jumped incredibly high. It was only 5,000 of them. They're minting at a quarter ETH, and then essentially went up to about 10 ETH.
Wow.
And then fallen back down to about 8 as of last night. I haven't checked this morning, but it's just one of those things. Really, really cool art. It's not so much like, oh, this roadmap's nuts. Sometimes you just have such a cool are aesthetic, and you're kind of doing something that no one else is really doing, and you just really knock it out of the park, it's enough for those whales. And then, it's just a network effect. You get some of those whales, you get, Steve Aoki has one. Next thing you know, like everyone's just kind of aping in. You get a lot of those Bored Ape people. Everyone's kind of just aping in. So those people that just have, 10 ETH on the sidelines, good for them. I mean, I wish I could, but you couldn't mint it. It was all basically whitelisted out. I wanted to mint it. I wasn't able.
You guys might have touched on this in that podcast you referred to at the top of the show that you and Justin did on your channel, but what are your thoughts on war and the effect on the NFT market?
So it's really hard to determine what is going to happen, because I do think, war will push ETH down, but I don't know if some of these people will allow like a Bored Ape Yacht Club or a CryptoPunk to fall below a certain threshold. I think the main effect is, there's going to be some people like, look, people are, at war. Why am I buying this JPEG of a monkey? And I get that argument. But then there's going to be other people saying, well, ETH is so suppressed. Someone who's buying $100,000 apes, someone who's buying these invisible friends for $25,000. I'm trying to be, careful here. I think they're a little disconnected with, how they should be spending their money in a safe manner. I don't think you're buying $25,000 invisible friends. You don't really care about what's happening as far as, crypto prices or NFT prices. These type of people, they want a monkey because they want a monkey. You got $100,000. You're buying the monkey for a flex. Some of them are flipping, but a lot of these people are just going to be forever holders. And I still see rich people just not really like being that careful. I think what it will affect is those markets of people buying like the $100 to $500 NFTs. They're going to be the ones like, I need to be more careful with my money, because I don't know about like, what the next 6 months looks like whether or not I can afford, down payment on a car or a house. You're buying, apes and invisible friends. You probably aren't worried about those things.
Right. And so if you guys are new to NFTs, there's definitely a separation from a luxury NFT market and kind of your everyday accessible NFTs. That's kind of what
the Alien Worlds people aren't probably, a big overlap with Bored Ape people.
Exactly.
And I love both projects. I have a Mutant Ape and an Alien World, so I'm kind of an exception to the rule, but I don't think most people it's like that.
And lastly, just wanted to hit Captain Kirk asked in the YouTube chat, with everything going on right now, should we worry about having our crypto on exchanges? Is it imperative to get a hardware wallet with everything that's happening around the world? I would say, you can answer as well. I answered in the chat, just wanted to elaborate because I think it's a good question for everybody out there. It's not, I wouldn't say imperative. I would say it's wise to have some custody of your own coins, because you never know what could happen. They did it overnight in Canada. They said we're not going to allow withdrawals to these people. That if you think you could ever be one of those people, you probably want to have access to some of your own funds. So not your keys, not your coins does apply. That being said, I don't want to scare people. If you don't feel like you have the technical capability to do so, maybe
I do want to scare people. No, I'm just kidding. I joke about that because if everybody withdrew their Bitcoin off Coinbase, Coinbase would have to, probably buy some more.
It'd be good.
It would pump the price like, crazy. I say this, if you put any political post on, any social media platform, it's probably not a bad idea. If you're just like, I stay out of that and I just like to, buy my coins or just keep my head low and I just work and I'm not posting anything political, I'm not texting anything political, I'm not donating to anything political, you're probably not going to be affected. But if you're, one of these people who really likes to get engaged, you really like to criticize your government online, you're sending $25 to support these people, that's the people that should worry. And, if I was that person, it's something I would definitely do. If I was that person, I try not to, get crazy like that, with my posts online. So, I try to, I'm like, govern me harder. I'm not saying I'm that person either, but, I just try to, be careful with my language just in case they are, looking at me. I do have a small audience, we put out, a couple dozen people watches on NFT Alpha. So, I try to be careful with all that. So, if you're one of those people, it's probably not a bad idea.
We know the rules of the game that we have to play by. We may not like the rules, but we still have to play the game and we want to win.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got time for. Great episode. Loved it. Love the chat. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you check out Frankie Candles. Big shout out to Frank helping me out with the, with this mouse. I didn't want to get carpal tunnel trying to move TradingView around. Check out NFT Alpha, Meta Money. I want to give a shout out to all the people we're doing work for as well.
Sandstorm. Guys, jump into
That's the name I
Sandstorm.
keep seeing all the time.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. If you're interested in metaverse kind of stuff, they do a meetup in Sandbox. They do streaming all the time. So Sandstorm's great. Crypto Busy. Obviously, you guys know Crypto Stash, Crypto Wendy,
Crypto Window Stash. We love them.
Shoshi, Mind Your Biz. I'm talking to later today. So
Nice.
just support the fam.
Love it. Love it. All right. That's all we got time for. Until next time, BitSquad. Easy out. Not your keys. Not your